Hello, welcome to another wiki procedure, and today we are going to look on how you can apply for a community radio license in Kenya. Down here below we have given you a link which is going to direct you to our wiki procedure website page, where we have given you more detailed information on how you can go about the application process. Additionally, on the right hand side of our screen we have included a select language option, and by clicking on this downward pointing arrow you can select the language which you easily understand from the list of languages which is going to pop up. And by choosing that language, all the information on the wiki procedure website page will be translated to the language of your choice, and you can easily revert back to English by clicking on English once again. We have also included external links to other websites which you can visit and get more information about the application process. Additionally, we have included links to documents which you are going to use to make the application, and you can easily download the document by clicking on this link. We are going to go through this document as we move on with the presentation today, but before we move on with the presentation, I will urge you to go and hit the like button, the subscribe button and notification button on our YouTube channel, so you can get notifications every time we upload new content on our YouTube page. So let's get back to our presentation. The list of items which we are going to cover in this session include the need for a radio license, the eligibility, the required documents, steps to follow in making the application, the fees, validity period, processing time, office location and contact information, and any other information that we may find relevant on how to apply for community radio license in Kenya. So welcome to our presentation today, which is brought to you by wikiprocedure.com. The need for a radio license. The Communication Authority of Kenya is mandated to license all broadcasting services providers in accordance with the Kenya Information and Communication Act. In accordance with provisions of Section 46 of the Kenya Communication and Information Act, it's illegal to provide any form of broadcasting service in Kenya without a license. A contravention of this law attracts a fine of not exceeding 1 million shillings or a term of imprisonment of 3 years or both. So you need a radio license, so you cannot break this law. The eligibility criteria is as follows. Any person or company, society and partnership registered in Kenya can apply for a license. However, political parties, movements and human rights activists are not eligible for a broadcasting license. The required documents are as follows. A cover letter addressed to the Director General on the applicant's letterhead. You need to note, for Kenya government entities, the application letter should be by the institution's chief executive officer. You also need the original certificate of incorporation or its equivalent from the register of companies, a list of the directors and shareholders of the organization, and details of their nationality and shareholding. For Kenyan government agencies, this requirement is exempted. You also need a copy of certificate of incorporation, business name and registration certificate. Kenya government agencies are exempted from this requirement. You also need a copy of relevant documents as listed below. Cooperative societies bylaws, membership agreement terms and conditions, minutes of the annual general meeting or the authorizing venture in the service for which the license is sought, and details of the appointed directors. That is for cooperative societies, or a partnership in case of a partnership deed in case of a partnership, or constitution of the society's members agreement terms and conditions, minutes of annual general meeting authorizing members into the service for which the license is sought for, and details of the appointed directors. So that's also for the partnership, a partnership in Kenya. Apart from that, you need the Kenya national identity cards or valid passports of all directors and shareholders of the applicant, if it's a company or a partnership or a cooperative society. You also need copies of the copies of passport should include pages showing the nationality, date of issue and expiry, and name and photograph of the holder. You need to note that Kenyan government agencies are exempted from this requirement. Apart from that, you're supposed to present your valid tax compliance certificate or tax exemption certificate for the applying entity, and this is you can sort this from the Kenya Revenue Authority. The procedure is as follows. First of all, we've already mentioned that the Kenya Communication Authority the Communication Authority of Kenya is the one which is mandated to license all broadcasting services providers in accordance with the Kenya Information and Communication Act of 2013. And this application can only be done in person. So the first step is that the application for the community radio license is done on an application form for community broadcasting license in line with the regulations and guidelines for applications of community broadcasting services issued by the authority, which is the Communication Authority of Kenya. These application forms are available for download free of charge from the Communications Authority of Kenya website, and you have already downloaded the form. You're going to go through the form as we move on with the presentation. So after downloading the form, fill it and submit it to the authority together with the requisite supporting document as stipulated in the application form. You need to know that the application form outlines all the required documents which you are supposed to attach, and also a checklist is given at the application form. So you're going to see how it looks like as we move on with the presentation. So as you submit it, the receiving officer shall check for completeness of the form to ensure it meets all the licensing requirements and register your application as received. From here, the receiving officer will then issue you with a payment instruction form which the cashier will use to receive your payment for the requisite application fees. Once payment is done, the registrar with the details of the application shall update your application information. Then the receiving officer will forward the application and supporting documents to the next level officer for further scrutiny and confirmation that the application complies with all the requirements. The evaluation team will prepare a report for their evaluation and present a summary to the Communication Licensing Committee for further consideration. After this, the Communication Licensing Committee shall deliberate on the application based on the evaluation report and recommend or not recommend the application for award of a license. Following the outcome of the CLC, the authority shall, in accordance with the CLC decision, perform the following task. It can either one, where the application is not recommended for a license, official communication shall be prepared informing the applicant of the reasons why the application was not successful and the requirements for the application to be processed further. 2, where the application is recommended for award of license, the process of gazetting the application shall be initiated. And 3, where the CLC directs that the application be subjected to further processes prior to being recommended for award, the applicant shall be accordingly updated if necessary. So let's go with the scenario for approval. For an approved application, the authority shall prepare a notification for publication, the intent to license in the Kenya Gazette. The notice shall run for a statutory period of 30 days, and the authority shall monitor the application on the Kenya Gazette for any representation or objections, and shall address any representations or objections. At the end of the Gazette period, the authority shall submit the license application for consideration by the board. Following the board outcome, the authority shall, in accordance with the board directive, initiate official communication informing the applicant of the board's decision. And there are 2 scenarios. Where the application is approved, the authority shall prepare official communication regarding license offer, informing the applicant of the conditions of offer, including the prerequisite fees and the offer validity period. And the other scenario, where the application is rejected, the authority shall prepare official communication informing the applicant of the reasons why the application was not successful and the requirements for the application to be processed further were applicable. So once the applicant makes the payment for the license within the validity period of the license offer, the authority shall prepare a draft license stipulating the terms and conditions of the license, and the applicant shall be required to accept the offer before the next stage can proceed. The authority shall issue a construction authorization permit valid for a specific period of 6 to 12 months, during which the licensee shall shall be expected to put up the relevant infrastructure for the approved broadcasting services and carry out the necessary test. Once the licensee notifies the authority regarding the completion of the setup of the station, the authority shall carry out an inspection of the facility as well as witness test transmissions, and if satisfied, recommend issuance of the license to the applicant. And another scenario, if the authority is dissatisfied with the construction, the authority shall recommend to the applicant the specific issues that need to be addressed and the time frame of revisiting the matter. In the case the applicant fails to address the shortcomings within the specified time frame, the license offer shall be withdrawn and the applicant shall be duly informed. So the authority shall issue the broadcasting license following successful inspection by the authority, and the communication radio license must be kept in force by annual payment of the prescribed license fees. The details of the applicant and the license shall be recorded and maintained in the registrar of licenses. So before we move on, let's take a quick look at how this application form looks like. This is the application form for community broadcast license, and it's quite a straightforward document, giving you all the instructions, what we have just gone through, the documents which are required. We have just gone through this document. They have also the fees applicable. We are going to talk about this as we move on. Let's move on. These are also some the requirements. These are checklists to make sure you have all things in order before you submit the document. And here you're supposed now to give the name of the entity in bold letters, the physical address, postal address, give your which category you want to. If you want a radio license, you're supposed to tick here the name of the license, which languages you're going to broadcast in. Let's move on. These are more information about your entity, if you've ever applied before, if it was successful, if it was rejected. You'll give more information about referees. Let's move on. And declaration. And this other section is for official use, but they include instruction on how you're supposed to set up statutory requirements. So all the information that we have just talked about is all included in these. All the guidelines, the business plans are all included in this application form. So let's move on with the presentation. So the application fee is 1,000 payable when submitting the application form. Then there's the initial license fee, which is 15,000 payable after approval but before issuance of the license. And there's the annual operating fee. Now this one is, you are supposed to pay this when you're being issued by the license, and it's also the annual operating fee. So annually you're supposed to be paying 1,500. But there's also the return fee, which is going to be stipulated in the license which you're going to be offered. The validity period, the license is valid for 10 years, but there is an annual return and operating cost which you are supposed to be paying or facilitating. The processing time takes between 6 to 12 months. Contact information of the Communication Authority of Kenya. They are located at CA Center, Communication Authority Center, Wayaki Way. You can visit them at their website of www.ca.go.ke. Other information is that an approved broadcast is specific to a site or radius and cannot be transferred to another site or other users without the approval of the authority. So thank you for watching. I will urge you once again to go and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button and notification button on our YouTube page, If you have any queries, go through our wiki procedure website page. We have given you detailed information, and also download this application form, for it has even more detailed and comprehensive information. So thank you for watching. Tell a friend to tell a friend about wiki procedure. I wish you all the best in getting your community radio license. Thank you for watching.